How does the Interstate Commerce Clause affect state sovereignty? Have you ever wondered how the laws that govern our states interact with the broader rules set by the federal government? The Interstate Commerce Clause is a key player in this relationship. This clause gives Congress the authority to regulate commerce that crosses state lines. This includes the movement of goods, people, and even communications. Now, let's break down what state sovereignty means. State sovereignty is the power of states to govern themselves and create laws within their own borders. However, the Interstate Commerce Clause sets a constitutional limit. When an activity involves or significantly affects interstate commerce, states cannot create laws that interfere with it. This means states cannot impose tariffs or regulations that conflict with federal laws regarding interstate trade. Over the years, the interpretation of the Interstate Commerce Clause has expanded federal authority, which has impacted state autonomy. For instance, the Supreme Court has ruled that even activities that occur entirely within a state can fall under Congress's regulatory power if they significantly affect interstate commerce. This broad interpretation means Congress can regulate a wide range of economic activities, which reduces the power states have in economic matters. However, the Supreme Court has also recognized that there are limits to this power. In the case of United States versus Lopez, the court decided that Congress overstepped its authority when it tried to regulate non-economic activities that did not significantly affect interstate commerce. This ruling reinforced that states maintain sovereignty over traditional local matters. It also clarified that federal power under the Interstate Commerce Clause is not unlimited. From the standpoint of state policies and laws, the Interstate Commerce Clause requires states to think carefully about their regulations. They must ensure that their laws do not interfere with interstate commerce or conflict with federal regulations. States must avoid laws that discriminate against or unduly burden interstate commerce. However, they still have sovereignty over areas not covered by federal commerce regulations, such as local matters or those reserved by the 10th Amendment. In practical terms, this means state governments need to balance their policy goals with constitutional limits. States can regulate local business practices and public health, but they cannot create protectionist measures that favor in-state businesses over those from out of state. When disputes arise, courts often evaluate whether state laws interfere with interstate commerce or whether they are valid exercises of state sovereignty. In essence, the Interstate Commerce Clause limits state sovereignty by granting Congress broad authority to regulate commerce that crosses state lines. This restricts states' ability to enact conflicting laws. However, states still retain sovereignty over local matters and activities that do not significantly affect interstate commerce. This balance shapes how states create policies and laws within the framework of federalism.